Count on me. We will keep at it, and one day...
Yes, one day, we will be seeing that future.
Hey, Petra. How's training going?
It is going well. I am not having any troubles right now.
Good, good. At least things haven't gotten worse, right? So, did you hear what happened the other day? The professor, really.
Caspar.
Oh, whoa, okay, there's no need for that.
You are the son of my father's killer. That means I must be killing you and taking revenge.
What? I thought you said it wasn't a big deal. We're not our parents and all that.
Your optimism is not making sense. It is not possible that you are not having hatred for me. My father was killed. By the Empire. By your father. And so I will be impaling you on this blade to be satisfying a deep wish of mine.
A deep wish? What are you talking about?
I am talking about my wish. Of course, I am also having another wish. An even deeper wish. I wish for you and I to keep being friends. To keep fighting and surviving together. When you are speaking of your father, it is with a proud smile that injures my heart. But that is only a small thing. You also are working harder than anyone I am knowing, so I can't bring myself to be killing you.
I see. So you do hate me because of what happened, but you still want to be my friend? You haven't stabbed me yet, so you obviously want me to live more than you want me to die. I hope.
That must be the truth. More than all of it, I am not wishing to be losing you. It would give me great sadness.
Oh, okay, that's a relief. I don't want to lose you either, and I definitely don't want to fight you. To be honest, if things were the other way around, I don't think I'd be able to forgive you. I'd hate you, and I'd hate myself for feeling that way.
Caspar.
But you're not like that. You see me as your ally and your friend. You had the chance to kill me, but you used it to show me that you want me to live. You really are an incredible person, Petra. I want to be more like you. I want to prove that I'm a good friend. I promise, you won't regret letting me live.
You have my gratitude for your understanding. Hearing your words gives me great happiness. I was always feeling a barrier between our hearts. I am sure I was also the one putting it there. But from now onward, I will be sharing all of my heart with you. My grief and anger, joy and love, all of it.
I'd like that, Petra. From now on, we'll be more honest and open with each other.
Why are you sighing at me like that? Is my face really so hopeless?
Ingrid, I am trying to think of something polite to say right now. It's as if you have no experience dressing elegantly. At all.
I mean, I don't. Dorothea, I appreciate you taking the time, but yes, we're in the middle of a war. It hasn't been my top priority.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't be so hard on you. I was just surprised, is all. A gal like you're a beautiful young noblewoman who somehow has no experience with either makeup or fashion. This is basic stuff, Ingrid. The basics of the basics, really. But it's like you've never even tried.
I was just never interested before. Even as a child, it never appealed to me. Fussy, pretty things always felt unnecessary. And gussing myself up to attract someone has never played an important part in my pursuits as a knight. But you've piqued my interest in all this.
How?
It's not like I'd be dressing myself up just to attract someone. I'd be dressing up for the occasion, specifically. even if I don't dress up any other time. A special occasion such as this is a good reason to try it out.
Well, yeah. That's why we dress up when we go out. You might meet someone, and you want to look your best, don't you? Get their attention, lure them in.
That's the exact opposite of what I just said. You said previously that dressing up for the occasion is reason enough.
Oh, I just said that so you wouldn't run off screaming.
I see.
My real point is that you're quite lovely even before getting all fixed up. Absolutely bewitching, in fact. So when I'm finished with you, well, someone looking at you could be forgiven for wanting to pounce.
Could they be? I don't know that I'd forgive them.
Oh, I know. That's why just before I lunge, I'm gonna ask permission.
Permission is not granted. Ever. Just back off.
All right then, enough sparring for today?
Yes, that should suffice.
I must say, you've gotten good at seeing through my tricks. I can't mislead you so easily anymore.
I've made it my goal to read your aim and not give away anything through my body language.
But in hand-to-hand combat, your form needs work. On the battlefield, even if you lose your weapon, you can't ever stop fighting. Sink your teeth into their throats, kick them where it hurts. Do whatever it takes to survive.
Have you ever needed to employ such methods?
Not on the battlefield. I've never been in such a dire situation that I needed to. But at the tavern, loads of times. With a well-aimed boot, I've brought many a man to his knees. My point is, you can't hesitate to use dirty tactics. You have to grit your teeth and fight back. War isn't as pretty as it's made out to be in all those poems and songs. Sometimes, even as a knight, you have to do things that you might think are beneath you. You might even have to let innocent bystanders die. Are you prepared for that, Ingrid? Do you really want to be a knight, knowing what it entails?
I'm prepared to do whatever is requested of me, come what may. I will be a knight who loyally serves my king, just as you loyally serve Lady Rhea.
You've got me wrong. I'm loyal to the Archbishop, but only up to a point. I'd do anything in the world for Lady Rhea, except die. If she asked me to die for her, I wouldn't. Does that sound like a contradiction? Very well. That's just who I am.
You're right. It does sound like a contradiction. With all due respect, that isn't very knightly of you. I'm not sure I fully understand.
You will someday. Maybe not for a while, but you will. In the meantime, just don't die, okay?
I'll try my best.
I know you are there, Hanneman.
Well, say, are those crest documents? Ah, Seteth, have you finally decided to cooperate with my research?
Absolutely not. For 21 years I have refused your requests. I have no intention of changing my mind. But I will lend you these documents I have found, on the condition that you stop following me.
I am quite tempted by the offer, but your cooperation would be of much greater value. Your crest, the major crest of Keyhole, is so rare. As far as I am aware, Seteth, you are the only person ever confirmed to bear that particular crest. How did you come to possess it?
My answer is the same as every other time you have asked. I do not know. I was born a commoner, with no connections to any crests. There are no records of my lineage.
Oh, please, that thin explanation could never discourage me. You must understand, I will dig until I find the truth, no matter how long it takes.
You are wasting your time. I cannot give you the answers you seek. Even if you were to discover the reason why I bear the major crest of Keyhole, I doubt it would satisfy you.
That is for me alone to decide. And even if you are correct, That confirmation itself would be a valuable discovery. Such is the way of research, yes?
I'm afraid I cannot attest to that. I'm no scholar. In any case, if you really have no need for the documents, you will not mind if I dispose of them.
Let's not do anything hasty now. I will leave you alone, for now. But I am taking these documents with me. Once I complete my research on these papers, it'll be your turn, Seteth. I will learn the truth of your crest.
It is a pointless endeavor. You will learn nothing from me, no matter how much you try.
Perhaps his stubborn nature is one of the effects of his crest. Now that would be an interesting discovery. The first stage of my research will be to decipher his personality.
Manuela, a moment?
Oh, hello, Seteth. I must apologize, but I'm quite busy. Perhaps we could talk another time?
I have already confirmed that you have no urgent business. I would like to hear your explanation now.
My explanation? For what?
Allow me to be more specific. Where were you, and what were you doing last night?
Oh, my dear Seteth. You must relax that worried brow. Those forehead creases will ruin your beauty.
Just answer the question, please.
What question is that? The one you already know the answer to? Last night I had a bit of fun and a bit of drink. Less of one and more of the other, sure, but...
How much you drink is not my concern. But you are an adult who is tasked with the supervision of children. You should not be causing trouble for the students. It is unacceptable for you to expose them to your disgraceful behavior. Even more so to impose upon them the labor of cleaning up your mess.
Oh, don't oversell it. All they did was walk with me back to my room.
From what I hear, you had to be carried.
I'd like to think I'd remember that. If it happened, and it probably didn't, it's not as if I'm heavy. Nobody hurt themselves. Did they? Come on, Seteth. Loosen up. If you're so worried about how I'll behave, why don't you join me for a drink sometime? I mean, I only get in trouble when I drink alone.
If it will help to improve your behavior, I would not object to accompanying you from now on.
Well, that sounds just delicious. What are you doing tonight, around...
But first I will lecture you on all of the intricacies of proper behavior in the supervision of children. And until I am done, you will not drink a drop of alcohol. If you agree to those conditions, I will join you. I will even drink with you. Alcohol has little effect on me.
That is just... You know, getting lectured by you is... Well, I think the word is torture. Yes, that's it. Torture. And I won't have it. I'm going to go get a drink and try to forget this ever happened.
How is it that you imagine yourself the tortured one? How are you, Catherine? You look well enough.
Oh, yes, I'm fine. Never better.
That is good. I cannot help but be concerned, given your tendency toward incautious behavior. While boldness can be a virtue, I do hope you will bear in mind that recklessness is not. A moment's negligence can lead to a mortal wound for even the most skilled fighter.
You worry too much. If they saw me in action, the wounds themselves would cower.
That is precisely the attitude that worries me, especially given your history. You have been gravely injured before, as you no doubt recall.
Me? Gravely injured? When did that happen?
You mean you have forgotten? It was during your days as a student at the Officers' Academy. There was an excursion, a monster hunt. You charged ahead and left your fellow students behind. You ended up alone and surrounded. You almost died. Do you truly not remember?
Are you sure? All I remember is cutting down monsters left and right.
That is true enough, but you nearly bled to death in the aftermath. The Archbishop was so concerned for your life that she tended your wounds personally.
Oh, that was when that happened. Finally! It all fits together. Lady Rhea looking after me. Now that I remember clearly. That was the first time she ever spoke to me. I was lying on the ground, caked in mud, and she gently picked me up, even stroked my hair. The emotions were so overpowering that they must have just cleared away my memory of the whole incident. So it was during the monster hunt. Thanks, Sedith. That's been bothering me for ages.
That is not quite why I brought it up.
Come to think of it, Lady Rhea hasn't healed me since then. We've got to find Lady Rhea, and then maybe someday she'll honor me like that again.
Professor Hanneman, how unexpected.
Hello, Miss Dorothea. There is something I would like to ask you, should you have a moment.
And whatever would that be, Professor?
It's just some rumor I heard about your prejudice against the nobility. You remember when you came to me before, and we talked about how I used to be noble? I was just wondering what your aim was.
To clarify, I only hate nobles who are obsessed with their status. You're not that kind of man, Professor. I mean that, really. And it sounds like you never were.
I see. But hating nobles obsessed with their status, you must have had some terrible experience in the past. My apologies. That was rather presumptuous.
No, it's fine. As I'm sure you know, I was a highly praised songstress for a time. Before I was a singer, though, I was an orphan. And before that, I was the daughter of a noble's maid.
My goodness! From an orphan to a renowned songstress. That is quite a life you have led, Miss Dorothea.
Well, I don't remember much of my early years. My father was never there, and my mother was driven out of the noble house where she worked. Before long, she fell ill. I was always alone, and I lived in the alleys of the imperial capital, just trying to survive from one day to the next.
I see.
Eventually, after I became a singer, I met the nobleman that I think is my father.
Oh.
He'd had a child with a maid, but the child didn't have a crest. So he threw them both away. Those were his very words. I can't prove that he really was my father, but I suppose it doesn't matter. He didn't know who I was. And when he flirted with me, my feelings were something beyond fury. I was dumbfounded. In truth, I felt that way about all of the nobles who flocked around me, yet would just as easily have tossed me away should it better suit them.
You have my most heartfelt of apologies, Dorothea. I am afraid my curiosity has opened old wounds. Sadly, it is undeniable that the nobility is full of such terrible people. Perhaps even myself.
Professor?
Oh, it is nothing. Just lost in a memory of my own. Just know that I will do my part to ensure that you always know kindness in this world.
Thank you.
Manuela, I would like to apologize. The other day, I said some things to you that I am, well, not proud of in the least.
Oh no, Hanneman. It is I who should be apologizing. I behaved in just the most dreadful manner. I was just lashing out at everything. You were right to call me out. Really, and I do very much mean this. I'm so sorry for my behavior.
No, please, pay it no mind. Actually, I'm thankful for what you said during our conflict.
Thankful?
Yes, you made me realize that I have a somewhat meddlesome nature. Thanks to you, I believe I've found an area in which I can improve myself.
I could say the same thing, you know. Your accusations, they really hit home. After I cooled down, I realized you were right. I really ought to try and keep my emotions a bit more under control.
Well, that's good to hear. It seems this wasn't a fruitless clash for either of us.
Oh, indeed. There's nothing more depressing than a pointless fight, is there? Don't you wonder, though, just how many times we've had this same argument?
We do always seem to be at one another's throats before we even realize it. I don't know how we manage to keep it up.
You're not wrong. Something the matter, Hanneman?
Well, it's just... you don't smile like that very often. But when you do, it is quite charming. Perhaps your struggles in love are due to your reliance on false affection instead of your more natural charms.
Well, thank you for the compliment. Even if you did have to spoil it with criticism. If you weren't so judgmental all the time, maybe you'd have had more luck in romance yourself.
What? Manuela, as your friend, I was only trying to give you a useful bit of advice.
And that so-called advice is exactly why I call you meddlesome and overbearing.
There it is. Manuela begins to protest even when she knows the fault lies with herself. My, look at the time. I really should retire for the evening.
Professor!
Oh my, who's there? Aloise? Well now, wherever did you come from?
I came in through the door.
Came through the... try doing so with a bit less volume in the future. Now then, why are you visiting at such a late hour?
I'm looking to enlist the services of a magic wielder. I thought you might be the man for the job.
You're a knight, Aloise. Why would I teach you magic?
You were a teacher, weren't you?
Perhaps you should ask one of your friends already trained in the magical arts. I am tired and would very much like to turn in for the evening.
Slow down there. I heard a rumor you were looking for novice magic users. Did I hear wrong, or am I just an unsuitable student? Were you hoping for another young girl instead?
Ah, you heard about that, did you? I'm afraid that was simply for the purpose of my experiments. I had no intention of teaching anyone. Anyway, as I said, I am off to bed. Good night, Aloise.
Wait! Hold on, Professor Hanneman. I'm no good at magic, and for a long time I've been hoping to improve my skills. Some of the other knights look down on me for having no crest and no magical skill. I can't do anything about the crest, but the magic, maybe that's a different story. Please, I want to learn. You've got to help me.
Ah, maybe I'm just a fool who goes soft in the face of someone's hunger for knowledge. I will help you. I cannot teach you any spells, but I can do my best to try and improve your magical affinity. Will that be enough?
Of course! How marvelous! I look forward to training with you then.
Very well. We will see what we can do. For now, I am off to bed, and you should do the same.
Flane, I hope you will allow me to apologize.
Why would you need to do that?
Last time, when I was working on my armor, you could have been gravely injured. You have been avoiding me ever since, so I want to reiterate how very sorry I am.
I'm not sure that's entirely the case.
So you are not avoiding me?
To be perfectly honest, I felt a bit embarrassed. When you embraced me before, it really caught me off guard. You're surprisingly strong for how slender you appear. Anyway, it all got me rather flustered.
Oh, I see. Well, I do train quite often. On the battlefield, it is perfectly common to lift up a wounded comrade. It has nothing to do with your gender. In the heat of the moment, I pay no attention to such things. That is, how I would explain it.
I see. So you have a well of strength for embracing people, it seems.
Well, I would not put it like that. Usually, when I embrace people, it is in the context of battle.
Is that so? So the embrace was nothing more than a rescue. Perhaps I was flustered needlessly. I wonder if you would consider embracing me when my life is not in peril.
Huh? Why?
Because I'd like to feel that way again. That's why. How about it? Or is your capacity for embracing limited exclusively to warfare?
Oh, I see what is going on here. I had forgotten how charmingly ethereal you can be. Very well. As per your request, I shall embrace you again.
I'm delighted. Does right now work for you?
Why, of course. Easily done. Although, perhaps we shouldn't tell Sedith.
Agreed. Better to let this be our little secret.
How the crimson rain of pain it came, falling hard upon a land aflame, when the sacred blade it split the sky until the heavens heard our cry. In the hour of vengeance will you heed the call? On the red fields of revenge will you help avenge? We must fight strong and stand tall.
Oh, Ferdinand, that song.
Manuela, hello. What a treat. It is most rare to see you at the training grounds. I have never had the honor of sparring with a princess. Why not grab a sword?
Ferdinand, that's called changing the subject. That song you were singing, is it the one you said made such an impression on you?
So you heard me. I hope it was not too grating on your ears.
You've nothing at all to be embarrassed about. I'm pleased if one of my songs stayed with you like that. Oh, it really takes me back. I remember the big battle in the first act. How the crimson rain of pain it came, falling hard upon a land aflame, when the sacred blade it split the sky, until the heavens heard our cry. In the hour of vengeance will you heed the call? On the red fields of revenge will you help avenge? We must fight strong and stand tall. Wow, my heyday is behind me. That's for sure.
No, that was wonderful. Exactly the voice I recall from my childhood. To have witnessed this performance in such an intimate setting, I am deeply moved. I cannot stop trembling. I feel as though I am going to cry. You have shaken me to my very core.
All right, Ferdinand, relax. I can see that it's affected you deeply.
You made a little boy's cherished dream come true. Perhaps you can help realize one more.
Another one? And what would that be?
Would you do the sword dance with me? The one that accompanied the song? It had a part for a male performer, if I recall. I would be truly honored.
I'm sure I can't do it as well now as I could then, but you're just so adorably... you. I can't resist.
Thank you so much. That has long been a dream of mine, and you made it a reality.
I gotta say, Ferdinand, you're full of surprises. It was like dancing with a pro. Perfect timing, always in step.
All thanks to you. You inspired me.
Or perhaps it was you who inspired me.
Hey, Caspar. You look more troubled than usual.
Yeah, I've been thinking a lot about the last time we talked. I really admire your strength, and I want to be like you on the battlefield. But I don't agree with your idea of justice. If that's the case, is it bad for me to look up to you? I'm not sure how to feel anymore.
I can't answer that. You'll need to find the answer on your own. I can offer one piece of advice, however.
Sure, anything will help.
When I told you I would cut down children with no hesitation, you looked disgusted. I take it that's the part you're struggling to accept?
Pretty much. I don't think I'd be able to do it, even if that meant disobeying orders.
Well, what if the children had their own weapons? What if they were trying to kill you?
Well, maybe if it was in self-defense. But even that...
What if the children were killing each other? Let's say their families had been slaughtered and they sought revenge. How would you stop the killing? Who would you strike down?
I don't know. I'd have to see what's going on for myself, but even then,
When you witness these horrors in person, it's no easier to decide. In fact, the decision is harder. Choosing to end or spare a life, whether to save someone or abandon them, these choices are always difficult.
Having to choose between life and death.
You have a strong sense of justice. You have clearly defined ideals. But that's not an asset on the battlefield. Ideals slow you down. They cause inner conflict. Making decisions in the spur of the moment, you can't hope to be perfectly fair and just. That's why I choose to fight for Lady Rhea's justice. The justice of the Church of Seiros.
But what about when Lady Rhea's ideals don't really line up with yours? Then what?
Not possible. Lady Rhea's ideals are my ideals. There's no conflict between them, because that's what I've decided. Do you see?
I don't get it. You can't possibly agree on everything.
I have faltered in the past.
That's what I'm talking about. How can you blindly trust some other person's sense of justice?
Not a person. The goddess. I cared about someone, and they were branded a criminal. That's when I started down this path. I didn't know whether to turn a blind eye or mete out punishment.
What did you do?
I couldn't decide, so I looked to the goddess for guidance. Since then, I have devoted myself completely to the goddess. I surrender myself wholly to her will. So think carefully, Caspar. To what will you devote your sword and your heart?